I would call it a strike mission when it's knee high. A desperate attempt to get in the water somewhere more like it. So when I'm making the decision on a given day to windsurf or kite surf or wing foil, it's really dependent on the conditions, and the conditions pretty much dictate for the most part what I do. And there's not very often a time when I'm trying to figure out which to do. It's usually pretty clear one sport or the other. On this day on the south shore of Maui, it was clearly wing foiling because the surf was really small and definitely not big enough to windsurf. Could have kited it, but the wind there is really, really gusty. So the kite's falling out of the sky a lot, and also really small surf. So best for winging.
Yeah, I see you looking at me, now go ahead and move that body.
So for me, foiling in the waves in general, it's a fantastic flat water sport. Like there's no better way to mow the lawn, just riding back and forth in flat water, gusty winds, than wing foiling to me. The best options if the conditions are crappy. And then as you get into the waves, for me, it's kind of a swell sport, and then occasionally venturing into breaking waves. But of all the disciplines I do, it's the worst for actual breaking waves. And like watching the young guys where they've taken the sport and the kind of stuff they're doing in places like Cabo Verde, for example, on real full-on hollow waves, it's mind-boggling. I'd kill myself if I did that. So I try to stick to places where there's really nobody surfing. I don't want to foil where there's surfers in the water. This session on the south side was perfect. It wasn't really big enough to surf, so there was nobody out there, and that's perfect for me to wing foil in the waves. If I know that I'm not basically taking anything from anybody else, I'm not risking anybody but myself. These are basically knives on a board, and I don't take that for granted. And so I'm really careful. If there are other people in the water, I'll usually ride down the wind of them. I don't want to go up, above other people, where if somehow I lose everything, it's going to go washing into a surfer. Absolutely no way. And so this is a session where, yeah, I'm getting into the waves, not as deep as I want because it's like this deep, literally where the waves are breaking. And you can see a couple of times where even though I'm trying to go high, I hit bottom, and like you can see my foil. This is foiling on Maui. Like you're hitting the bottom all the time. And this one time I absolutely whacked it. You can see there, like that was a solid hit. Face plant. The way I approach my riding, there are a lot of people that are super technical and they change boards all the time and change foils and they're constantly fixing and sanding. And like, this is my everyday foil at the moment. It's an 840 Jet HA and a 220 stabilizer, and it is beat. I mean, you can see that I've been smashing this thing into the bottom. I'm bumping off of coral heads, and even with that huge gap, I kept riding, no problem at all. So I'm not super techy. I'm not like fine finishing my mast and my wings. And my board, I'm on a 62 liter in this section, so not super small, enough float that I can get up and get going when the wind dies, because it really comes and goes at this spot. And I don't want to have to swim back. I'm pretty much always riding strapped. At the moment, like in this session, I'm riding with 2 front straps. Ultimate for wave riding would be to do 1 offset strap in the middle, better for the bottom turns. You can apply more pressure to your front side rail, even though you're riding on a wing. But I've, again, pretty much tend to ride my gear the same all the time, whether I'm just blasting around, trying to go fast, testing, riding small waves, riding bigger waves. I'm usually in a 2 front foot strap, 1 back foot strap setup. And for me, it just gives me much better control over the board and the foil. And yeah, I feel connected as the driver, not a passenger. So you'll pretty much never see me strapless. So in most sessions, I'm at the moment usually on this 840. I like to be able to have equipment that I can take and ride every day, no matter what I'm doing, and not have to be switching gear all the time and moving my mast for different, foils, different lift characteristics, etc. I'm pretty lazy in that respect. I just like to ride. And so this is pretty big for a wave foil. If I were going for full-on performance, I'd probably be on a 550, 650, something like that. Certainly not an 840, but this gets the job done. Again, a little big, but it does what I need it to do. And I'm not trying to get into the pit. I'm not hitting the lip. I'm just trying to have fun, not hurt myself, and again, staying away from other people so I don't hurt anybody else either. So again, a lot of people don't like to see foils in the waves, but again, I was alone in this session. I'm alone in a lot of sessions. I tend to be the guy that chases crappy waves with no one out, rather than good waves with a lot of guys out. Regardless of what sport I'm doing, that's me. I'm certainly not a crowd guy. So don't come down on me for foiling the waves, because I was the only guy out. I was the only guy out, but even if I wasn't the only guy out, I wouldn't be riding any more aggressively than I was here. I was being super careful because the rocks where the waves are breaking are so sharp and so gnarly that if you wipe out there, like, you're going to lose your gear, guaranteed, and it's going to get destroyed. So yeah, I'm being pretty careful here.